Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something super practical. We've got this script here from an online guide, English with AI. And our goal, really, is to quickly pull out the key insights for you, give you some real practical ways to boost your English, and maybe more importantly, avoid some common slip-ups. You know, those little errors that can be kind of frustrating when you're just trying to get your point across clearly. We're going to break down 5 specific ones. We'll look at what they are, sure, but also why they happen and, crucially, how you fix them.
Yeah, and that why is so important, isn't it? Look, making mistakes is it's part of learning any language. It happens. But getting really fluent, those moments where it clicks, that often comes from understanding why the mistake happened, not just correcting it. So yeah, this deep dive, it's kind of a shortcut to that practical knowledge, helping to get a handle on these common issues without drowning in grammar rules.
Okay, let's dive in. First up, a real classic. You're in a meeting, perhaps, feeling good. You want to show you're on the same page, and you say, I am agree with you. It feels right.
It does.
Especially, I think, if your own language structures it like that, with a to be verb.
Exactly, that's the trap. The correct way, as the guide points out clearly, is just, I agree with you.
Mm.
The thing is, agree in English is a verb all by itself. It doesn't need that helper verb to be alongside it. A lot of other languages do use to be there, so I am agree becomes this, well, almost automatic translation error for learners. But think of other verbs like, say, I understand or I believe. You wouldn't say, I am understand, right?
Ah, okay. So agree just works like understand. It stands on its own. What makes that one so sticky, though? Why do people keep doing it?
It really is that first language habit. Our brains love patterns, so we try to map the new language onto the grammar we already know. But once you see that verbs like agree are, self-sufficient in English, the fix is actually super simple. Just drop the M. And the guy gives another good example. Do you agree? No R needed there either. It's consistent.
Right. Just do you agree? Simple once you see it. Okay, so from verbs, let's talk about describing how things are done. This brings up another really common point of confusion, using good versus well. You might hear someone say, she sings good.
And the correct version there is, she sings well. The basic grammar distinction is this. Good is an adjective. Adjectives describe things, nouns, like this is a good song.
Yeah.
But when you want to describe how an action is done, how she sings, you need an adverb, and that's well. Well modifies the verb sings.
Okay, adjective for the thing, adverb for the action.
Precisely. But there's always a but in English, isn't there? If someone asks you, how are you, saying I'm good is totally fine in everyday chat.
Oh, right. Why is that okay then?
Because in that case, good is describing your state of being, you yourself. You're the noun, in a sense. It's like saying I am happy. Good describes you. So it's not describing how you're doing something, just your condition.
That's a really helpful distinction. So it's about what versus how. Even when you're just chatting, it makes you think, doesn't it? Have you ever caught yourself consciously making that switch in your head? It takes practice to get your ear tuned to it.
Absolutely. It becomes second nature eventually, but yeah, it takes that active listening at first.
Okay, our third common tangle involves 2 words that are opposites, and boy, do they cause confusion. Borrow and lend. I definitely remember mixing these up. I think I offered to borrow someone my pen once, got a very blank look. So the incorrect way often sounds something like, can you borrow me your pen?
Right, and the confusion is understandable because they're 2 sides of the same coin. To borrow means you take something, planning to give it back. To lend means you give something, expecting it back. So the guide's examples are spot on. Can you lend me your pen? Or can I borrow your pen? The key takeaway, I think, is to focus on the direction. Who's receiving? They borrow. Who's giving? They lend. It's all about perspective.
Perspective, right. Who's doing the giving, who's doing the taking, that really clears it up.
It does. Simple framing helps a lot.
All right, let's shift again. Let's talk about counting things or not counting things. This is where much and many can cause problems. It really comes down to countable versus uncountable nouns, doesn't it? So you might hear mistakes like, how much friends do you have? Or maybe, I don't have many homework.
Yep, classic examples. And again, there's a fairly straightforward rule here, which is great. You use many with nouns you can count individually. Friends, books, ideas, 1 friend, 2 friends. So how many friends do you have? Then you use much with nouns that are hard or impossible to count as single units. Things like water, advice, homework, money. You don't usually say 1 money, 2 monies, or 1 homework, 2 homeworks. So it's, I don't have much homework, or I don't have much money.
It sounds so clear when you lay it out like that. Countable, many. Uncountable, much, much. But still, in the flow of conversation, making that split-second decision. Yeah, that's where the practice really comes in, I guess, getting it to feel automatic.
That's exactly it. Rules are great, but embedding them takes mileage.
Okay, last one, number 5, and this is a big one. Prepositions. Oh, prepositions. Those tiny words like on, at, in, especially for time and place. They cause so many headaches. You hear things like, let's meet in 6 p.m., or maybe she lives at London.
Uh-huh. Prepositions are famously tricky, and you wonder, why are these little words so difficult? Part of it is just, well, idiomatic use is not always perfectly logical. Sometimes it's just how it's said, like navigating a city where the signs aren't always consistent. Frustrating, right? But our force guide does give us some general rules of thumb, which are useful starting points. For specific times, use at, so let's meet at 6 p.m. For days and specific dates, use on, like on Tuesday or on the 15th of May. And for longer periods like months, years, seasons, and also for larger areas like cities, countries, use in June in 2024. She lives in London.
At for times, on for days, dates, and for month, your cities.
Generally, yes. But honestly, while those rules help, a lot of preposition use just has to be absorbed through exposure. Listening, reading, practicing. You almost learn them like vocabulary items sometimes. There are always exceptions.
That's a good way to think about it, like learning vocab. So there we have it. 5 really common English mistakes. Demystified. We looked at I am agree versus I agree. 10. The whole good versus well thing. Borrow versus lend. Much versus many. And finally, those pesky prepositions. On, at, in. Hopefully, this deep dive gives you some really focused, actionable ways to fine-tune your English. Just concentrating on these can make a big difference.
Absolutely. It's about efficient learning, right? Focusing on high-impact areas. And maybe a final thought for you to chew on, connecting this back to the bigger picture. We know language changes. It's full of quirks and exceptions. So beyond just memorizing these rules we talked about, what's the best mindset for you as a learner when you hit these tricky spots? How does spotting these patterns, or even the lack of perfect patterns and these mistakes, how does that actually help you get a deeper feel for English? It's, let's say, unique logic. And ultimately, how does that help you communicate better, more confidently, out there in the real world? Something to consider.